Hello and welcome to another session of the Klangbild here in the FS1 studio. And today my guests are the Hille-Könighofer experience. My first question would be, what can we experience with you and what kind of instruments?
You can experience all and everything. That is also the title of our new CD, and this is the content of all our concerts. It's like mostly they're lasting an hour, and in this hour we're going through anything. Anything that happens. Anything that is true at that moment, because we are improvising the whole concert, so anything that happens is the truth, the absolute truth in that particular moment. So this is what you can experience with us together.
So every concert is like completely different, or would you say?
Completely different, completely unrepeatable, unique. Every time it's just only this, the way it is just there and then.
And are you changing the instruments you're taking there, or is it always the same variety? So like the concert is different, but the instruments are the same, or how do you play?
There are similar instruments, of course, because I'm a pianist, so I won't suddenly bring a French horn or something because I can't play this. So I'm bringing all sorts of instruments that I like to play, but it might be changing from one concert to the next. Like if I have at home a synthesizer that I haven't used for a long time and I feel like now it would be a nice concert to do that, then I take that along, or some percussion instrument, or just now in this concert tour, Herbert has discovered a saxophone that has been in the corner for a long time. So,
oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that one.
That's a specific saxophone.
Well, it is just mostly he's been playing the tenor and the soprano, and now on this tour there's also an alto saxophone along. So just for variation and to keep it interesting and also suspenseful for ourselves, because like it's very easy to slip into a routine and do the same things that you have done before and that you feel safe with. And I think the very exciting thing about our concept is exactly this, that it's exciting and we don't know what is going to happen.
So it's not only a unique experience for the guests, but also for yourself.
Exactly this. And I think this is exactly what gets across to the listener also, that they feel this is like new for everybody, for them and for us in the same way.
What a challenge. And I read you met through a coincidence in 2016. How did it happen? Where did you meet?
Yeah, well, actually it happened, my wife, she went to Bremen, I guess.
Yep.
And there she met him, and she came home from Bremen and told me, I met a very nice guy. I always have breakfast with him, and you can talk with him, and he's musician like you too. Don't you want to start to work with him? And I picked up this idea, and I wrote him an email. Please don't listen my music. I don't listen to your music. I would like to invite you for a total improvised concert weekend to come to Austria. And this call, I guess it was in April 16.
Yep.
And I invited him to come to Austria, also Salzburg. We did the gig in Zone 11, I guess. Was it?
No, in Herbert was the first.
In Herbert Hall,
yeah.
The first. Okay. And yeah, we first met at the train.
At the train station.
At the train station in Salzburg, and went straight on to the gig. So that was very nice. And there's another nice story about that meeting, because once we decided in April to work together, I came up with the idea to record some music as a soloist and send him the files and asked him to run over it, do your own colors of music over on top of my work.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. We did it twice, sent it twice, 2 times. And when we met in September, we already had a record, like a CD, but we didn't publish it. We had it just for promotion and to see how the experiment works, and it worked out very, very fine. And for us, or especially for me, it's a very special thing to work with him because of the beginning of this story, because the story already is improvisation. You know, it started with we didn't meet each other. We didn't say, okay, I like you, maybe we work together. It just happened by coincidence, maybe you can
Completely
say.
out of the blue.
I mean, in a way, it was very naturally the way it happened. Like Martina, your wife, said that she thinks that our music can match and can fit together, and we have similar concepts and ideas, and there's the same sort of strangeness about us, you know, like doing weird sounds, and we are interested in new soundscapes and things, and so it happened very naturally to do this. Then Herbie, when he called me over the internet and said like, let's send some files up and down. And then when I heard what he had sent me and what we came up with when we put it together, I was convinced that this is going to work, because it just sounded, I was really surprised, because obviously one couldn't know what to expect, but it sounded great. And the first record was still, because we were not in the same room, and I felt I don't want to publish it, even though it has now nice soundscapes, but it was like I wanted to do something that was really, you know, present in the same moment, in the same time, like in the same energy field also. And that happened then last November, when Herbie came to Finland for the third time, I think, on tour. And I organized a concert in a church, in one of the most famous churches in Helsinki, where I'm playing regularly solo piano concerts. And we did an evening concert, and I knew that it was such an suspense already in the air. I knew it was going to be great, so I had a sound guy recording the concert, and it was fantastic. It was such. Also, there was a drummer in the concert with us. He joined us because he had been on tour with us before sometimes, and it was just the right energy, and it worked out fantastically. So this is what we recorded and released now on CD, and this is
this one.
This is exactly the one.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can zoom in now, but maybe we have it later in picture, and it looks quite interesting. The style is pretty, as you said before. How did you describe it? Like weird?
A little bit weird, a little bit strange, and
but it's not the thing you would usually see, right? It's very special, and even more impressive that two, as you would say, like non-mainstream music sorts of music fit so nice together, right?
Yeah, I think music needs to surprise people. Like. I don't know, it's so boring, you know, such a lot of stuff is like the same stuff over and over again, and you can feel comfortable with it because you have heard it, you know, many times by some other artists and the same chords and stuff, but it's like too comfortable, and I like to be surprised when I hear something, and so I like to also make music which is surprising for myself and for the listeners.
Not always having the same bass liner.
Yeah.
And you said Finland. I read something about Scandinavian sounds, mystic Scandinavian sounds. What do you say? Are there special instruments fitting exactly into this type of music?
Well, may I say something about it?
Please.
It's like an idea. If you have now this word like Scandinavic and mystic, then there goes, you know, your brain is playing your pictures with you. So if I have like. We had this show called Kuhn Varios, the name in German, in English it's In the Shadow of the Moon. So if I just think about that, there already is coming music out of me, you know. Yeah. And if I say I play In the Shadow of the Moon together with Sid and I interact with him, then suddenly there is going, you know, a wide range of possibilities and interaction maybe, learning. Being surprised, being happy in what's happening right now, you know, and that's I think is the. You see, there's some goose skin on me when I think about it. So I really like to play with this man.
Well, that sounds like an experience we have to get into.
But they're not like particularly Scandinavic instruments. I'm just playing the Fender Rhodes electric piano and synthesizers, you know, Moog or any kind of brand that happens to be in my workroom at a given moment, and I play a theremin. That is an instrument which you don't touch, which is like the siren kind of sound, and the mysticness about it comes in by the way we are playing it and we are interacting. This is the mystic aspect, I feel, and then obviously there is something mystic, I think, about Scandinavia in itself. So the fact that I'm living in Helsinki and Finland, and nature has an influence on me, brings this kind of mysticism into the music also. And for me, the mystical aspect is exactly this being in the moment, right here and now. And this is what happens in our music.
We had a very interesting experience when we did a gig in Tampere in the Museum of Art in Sarah Hilden Museum, and we did this show, and it was it was in the afternoon, and some people came to us, and this old lady told us that she was impressed of what we are doing, and she stayed there to have a second look of all the pictures, because now she gets another clue of the pictures because of our music. And she told us that she never were listening to jazz or like avant-garde, but she said it was sacral. That was
so completely blown away about this.
Yeah, she was totally. She never heard something like that before, and yeah.
Neither have we.
Neither have we.
But you always play the same music. You don't adapt it to either Austria or Finland. You play your music, and it fits where you are, and you don't change it to where you play.
Right.
So it's always a new experience, but always your experience. So to say.
Yeah. And the experience of the audience also in a given place. Like for example, in this first tour when we played also, one of the concerts was in Hallstatt, right at the lake. And it was, first we were supposed to play right next to the lake, but then because it started raining, we had to go inside. But everything was like very spontaneous, and it was a completely different audience than was on the evening before when we were in Salzburg in this garage type cellar. And so this also has an influence already on what we're going to do. Like if I'm playing in a cellar, garage, then I feel different things, and I want to express also different things than if I play in Hallstatt looking out on the lake. And it's like, you know, I maybe start yodeling.
Always
I would if I could.
depending on the location.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's an adaptation. What do you say? What's your experience on the stage? How would you describe it? Is it exhausting playing many instruments, having this experience, this challenge, this improvisation, or how would you describe it?
Oh, yeah. Maybe two aspects. The one is like being a child, and you have your playground with your saxophones and flutes, and I bring sometimes instruments I don't even use on the evening, just to have it. Just maybe I need it, I don't know, so I bring it. And if you have it, you will work on it, you will have fun on that. So that's the childish part of it. And the other part is like meditation. Click, and you're in your dream world together.
Another
you try
state of
to
mind.
build a bubble. If you're strong enough, you expand the bubble to all of the audience, maybe to, like that.
Like completely cover the room with your feeling.
Yeah.
But of course there's also the purely professional aspect of it. We're both composers, and we are used to sitting in our rooms and putting like dots on notepaper. And in that situation, the childlike aspect, it's like we're playing with sounds, but at the same time, our composer brain is working. So if Herbie does something, then it will trigger an idea in my mind that could work with something else I do, and then I respond with some idea of mine. And here he hears that again, so he will think like, aha, if Sid now plays this, then he could play this. So the whole time the composer is also at work, and then obviously also we are professional musicians, so everything is like well crafted musically. It is not just, like now we feel like, yeah, haha, but it is like everything is crafted into well-defined music. But
So
it is
the best
composed.
of two worlds.
It's composed spontaneously and playfully. It has to be fun. If it's no fun, I don't want to be like.
What's the
And to
purpose
me,
of
it's
it?
also like a little fractal. It's fractal. It's like, you go down deeper, 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 and it doesn't end. You find another cosmos of sounds, feelings, colors. So it never stops.
Getting very detailed up to the little dot at the end of it.
Yeah.
And what was the question? Do you use also instruments on stage that you've never played before with?
Yeah, I use instruments I've never played before, because I used to play when we are in Austria, or when when I can afford it, to bring this instrument, which is a bigger one. It's a alto, what is it? Double bass clarinet. So it's a bigger one. I use it in Austria, but I didn't use it in other projects. I just use it in this one and in my Brian Brain stuff. But out of it, I just use it with you, I guess. And talking about these instruments, you know, when we started the first show, I also used to play guitar, use it for noise, you know. So when I feel like I also bring the guitar, or I also start to sing, you know, it's just all these instruments. I would like to listen how they sound and what they
Just
do with
to-
me and what I can do with them.
To get a feeling how they sound, and then
Yeah.
you decide on using it or not.
And I don't care. It is what it is. You know.
So your concert is like your concert, you do your stuff, you don't care about the people yet, but you want to cover them as well,
Yeah.
and that's the whole experience.
No, we
Well,
definitely care about the
well,
people.
We definitely
think-
care about the people, yeah.
I mean, I don't think about whether the people will like it or whether they don't like it.
Yeah, that's
or-
what I meant.
But I definitely care, because if I don't care, then I might as well play at home. And definitely there's a relationship, like just last night when we
Yeah.
played in Linz, and I was at one point a drummer, an American drummer came in, and I realized that now he was there, so that changes my relationship to the audience. Before they're just listeners, and now there's a musician. I'm aware of the fact there's a musician in the room, so I play in a different way. I relate in a different way to the things I do. I don't know if it lifts not a stress factor, but a factor of being more precise. And coming back to your question, which is asked, do I ever use instruments I have never played before? I don't, because I still need to be and want to be a professional. So I might take an instrument that I haven't played for a long time, but I need to know beforehand what is possible with the instrument and what I can expect, because I am improvising, which means I'm choosing spontaneously what I'm going to do in that moment, but out of a repertoire of possibilities which I know, which I can get from a certain instrument.
Which there are some skills at least
Exactly.
already there. What would you say, what are the reactions of the people? How do they respond after the concert or during the concert? What's happening there?
I had it a few times now. People say, I've never heard something like that before. How is it possible? What are you doing? Do you write it down, or do you reproduce it? Or most of the people don't get it, that it's really totally improvised stuff.
Yeah, and also people...
But you don't announce it, you just play and they don't know that it's improvised?
No, we don't talk about it so much.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes afterwards, if somebody asks, then how is it possible that this was this really improvised? And yes, it was. But I think the more important thing is what it does with people is, like what I hear very often afterwards, and which I'm really happy about, is that they say they came in and they were worried, they still had to do this, and they were still thinking of, and tomorrow this and that. And then they sit there and they listen for an hour, and they say afterwards, it was like being in a completely different world. I went from one world to another one, and
Like meditation.
and it's exactly this: being in the present, being in the moment, and being with your own ideas, dreams, and let yourself float.
And I think it's not only the sound that you hear that makes that mystical thing. Of course, it's the persons. You know, it's not enough to have 2 saxophones. Like, you need to know how to play them and use them. You know, so
And play them in a special way, for example, because
yeah.
as far as I gathered, you just don't like play them. If some musicians would play them like reproducing some other stuff, you just make new
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Well, we're trying. Obviously, every musician has some sort of preferences, things he likes personally, personal preferences, or things he has practiced. Like improvising, obviously, you can't invent everything completely. You can't invent the wheel every time you start sitting in your instrument. So there are things that are happening that you have played at some point before, and then if something happens which I recognize, oh, I'm doing this very often, then I try to get away from it as fast as I can and try to think of something else and not do the same time. Sometimes I play something which I recognize I have done before, but I feel it is so appropriate for that given moment, it is so right for now and for these people and just now with Herbie, that I keep playing it, because I think it's great. I like it, and why not play it if I like it? So I'm not going like desperately away from something I have played before, but I'm aware when I recognize something, that is this now a moment where I feel I'm getting sort of stale and too comfortable, and should I go away, or is this just right now? So
Really
there's
getting
all the
something
time
out.
also this compositional aspect going on, like what is right now, and what do I choose from the material?
And what is your next experience? What are you focusing on right now? What is your project right now? Are you composing a new album? Are you going on a lot of concert stages?
Well, for this project, I think the idea is now to maybe reach out for bigger festivals, which would be interesting. We have been playing a lot of small clubs in Finland and Austria now, and I think it would be very interesting how this works in front of a big festival audience, like say a couple of thousand people. What kind of response there would be, if and also how it feels.
And also, can we execute it?
Yeah. Exactly, because it is a lot of responsibility to sit there. I mean, I go on the stage and I don't know what is going to happen. So there is always the adrenaline level is going like whoa, because I know I have to come up with something interesting.
Yeah.
So it is not just, it will be
It's
okay.
easy if you just have like 30, 50 people. You can shake everyone's hand, But it's a big difference to have like a, let's say, 20-meter wide stage.
Yeah.
You sit there as a duo in front of, let's say, 5,000 people. So
that would be interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, and this is also the art. I wanna see if this works really, like not only doing it, if it really works, if we can make this bubble over a bigger place, And to me also, what is the next coming? Like the CD is not released now. Actually,
well,
it is released here
this week.
But so there will be another work to do to promote this CD, and maybe, like Sid said, getting some bigger concerts.
Yeah, Herbert is coming in November to Finland again, so we play a couple of concerts. Now this week we're releasing the CD here in Austria. And when Herbert comes to Finland in November, we will release it there also. And then in the meantime, obviously now it is there already, so we send it out and see if we can get some international festivals.
Some little promoting tour here in Austria and then in Finland.
Exactly.
And maybe for the last part here in the Klangbild, because that's the main aspect of it, you want to show us a video. Maybe tell us a little bit how did it, like, what's the story behind it? What's the catch and what's it about?
Well, the story of this video is it is exactly the same concert that is on the record. So you get a 6-minute clip out of the whole show, which was 60 minutes. So in these 6 minutes, I chose for this clip now a moment which I thought was really funny, because I'm directing the audience. And it happened because I knew that we were going to record it and it was going to be on record. So I said to the audience before the concert, I know in every concert somebody at some point needs to cough. So can we please do that now? So I said, on my sign, just cough now. And everyone, okay, stop. And maybe during the concert there will be a moment, maybe not, but maybe there will be a moment when I show you to cough again. And this is exactly in this video happening. And it sounded so fantastic. It is such a fantastic moment. Herbie and Markus, the drummer, they're playing, and I suddenly get this idea, now would be a great moment when I can use the audience. So I'm waving at them, and then I'm now coughing. And there's just that moment when Herbie takes a break, breathes, and the drummer is going, takes a break, and then and then we go again and playing again. And so I thought that was fun to show, and also there's like lots of Markus is a fantastic drummer, and so he melted so well, and the chemistry was great with us, and so I think it was nice to show this from the very concert that is on the record, to show a little bit of the thing also on video. But
but you see, especially on that short cut, you see how improvisation work, or how we deal with it. Because you see it. If you watch it, you know that it's improvised, and you see the body languages of the musicians and how we react and what we do. And like, I always have my eyes closed, so that's for them sometimes a problem, but not for me. But,
So for like a
so
coordination
some things
problem?
happening just out of I don't know.
That has never been a problem for me. I didn't even know that you had the eyes closed. You have sunglasses on most.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay, yeah, well, that's well, then it's hard to see, right? But still, that has like a special look. I'm very eager to watch it. Okay, that will be my part. Do you want to add anything here?
Yeah.
Buy the record.
Buy the record. I'll show you. I'll show you. Thank you.
Thank you as well, and
Thank you.
good luck with your promoting too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Philipp. FS1.
떠나